Um, Kama, look, we're here
Hey,
together. That was
yes.
easy. Not.
Okay. Sorry about that hectic
That's all right. I
link.
just want to finish reading for a single card for Stacy, one of our viewers, and this is the Three of Cups. Don't you love this image, Kama? It's
It's gorgeous.
a crow tarot deck. And as we know in numerology, the threes are all about partnership. And it can go wrong when they're like a love triangle. Um, but the three is really harmony, and these are three people working together in a loving relationship. So Stacy, what that means is there are two other people joining you in your life around something that is sustaining you emotionally, that might be um, causing you love and also somewhat turmoil of the heart, that's drawing from the wealth of emotion that you have. And yeah, so do you want to add anything, Kama, about the Three of Cups?
So when I think about the Three of Cups, I usually think friendship is like my go-to word. I think I'm a very feminine person, and so when I think about the Three of Cups, I think about like a group of women very like emotionally connected and the power that friendship can have to be like another sort of true love in your life. And so the love triangle angle is always there with the Three of Cups, but I prefer to ignore it and to focus on. I have like two really close girlfriends, and I like to, every time I see that card, I'm like, oh, it's time to message my girlfriends and reconnect to them.
Good.
Choose to see it the way I like.
All right, now that we actually have a good connection, let's talk for a few minutes about the Great Conjunction. I think it was my sister, Meg Weston, that was asking me, is there something big astrologically going on? And I know we talked a little bit earlier. Oh, thank God we've got a better connection right now.
Yes.
Um, about just what does that mean that there's a great conjunction?
Oh, wow. So the Great Conjunction is a beautiful alignment of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. It's the two largest planets in our solar system meeting and combining energy. And it's also happening on the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, and on the first day of Capricorn season. So the sun has entered Capricorn. And so it's a, you said your sister asked if there was something going on in the astrological world. Today is like a huge day, not only because of the Great Conjunction, but because of those other cosmic events. So definitely a lot of energy in the air, but the Great Conjunction is the star of the show, literally. So they are visible in the night sky in that conjunction when they meet, and they form a very visible bright light, and it looks like a star in the sky. And I believe the night star or the night light was the one that the three kings used to find baby Jesus 2,000 years ago during the dawn of the age of Pisces. So we're now having the conjunction in Aquarius, and a lot of astrologers are agreeing that or estimating that we're entering the age of Aquarius now. So very
So
exciting energy.
it's fun that one of the viewers that we've had, Stacy, that I just read the Three of Cups for, is an Aquarius. So would
Ooh,
this have a stronger meaning for her?
yes, so pay attention to how you're feeling now. I definitely recommend journaling or making some notes so that you can reflect on this time because it's going to be the start of a, I like to say, awakening. And Aquarius really emphasizes that energy to me because when I think about Aquarius, I was mentioning earlier how it's a link between your inspiration and connection to like source or God, if you believe, and this like divine creation of the self. So when you awaken to that energy, then it's really an Aquarian value, and you're going to be feeling it strongly now with the Jupiter Saturn conjunction.
And tell us a little bit more about each of those planets. Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, and Saturn.
So Jupiter is the biggest, and it really magnifies everything it comes into contact with. When I think about Jupiter, I think about expansion, growth, and also in a mental way about philosophies and beliefs and like expanding your personal knowledge through higher education. And then when I think about Saturn, it's kind of the opposite, where Jupiter expands, Saturn restricts and comes back in. And it really deals with structure, limits, boundaries. I think about space time as a very Saturn archetype. So those are those two energies. And then with the Aquarius, just this technological, vibrant, innovative energy. It's a paradigm shift.
And I want to say welcome to Elizabeth and uh, Kimberly, I think, or Amberly. Can't quite read it now. It's moved into the yellow on your space. um, I also think about the archetypes of Jupiter as the teacher and traveler, and all of our, well, not all of our travel, but all of my travel, and a lot of travel has been stopped due to the coronavirus. So I just wonder what you feel is connected with COVID and this conjunction, if anything.
So wonderful. Saturn and Jupiter are meeting in Aquarius, but they've been having a relationship with each other for a long time throughout the whole year. And before they moved into Aquarius, they were together in Capricorn with Pluto. And so Pluto and Saturn made a conjunction on January 12th at the beginning of the year, which I feel is responsible for the chaos that we have felt in 2020. Pluto represents death, destruction, transformation, rebirth, and life cycles. And so when Saturn, this planet of boundaries and restriction and reality as we know it, met up with Pluto, it was like the destruction and transformation of society as we know it. The pandemic slowed everything down. It was this upheaval and this like illumination of this like dark kind of everything that wasn't working in society was illuminated by this Pluto Saturn conjunction at the beginning of the year. And so this Aquarius Saturn Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius is taking this new energy. So it's that Jupiter and Aquarius instead of Capricorn, which is like restriction, boundaries, and all that harsh negative stuff. We're shifting into Aquarius, which is this beautiful opportunity for hope and faith again after devastation of the last year or so.
That really reminds me of, we talked a little bit before too about the Tower card in Tarot, and when things appear to be coming down, when structures are
Yeah.
coming apart, and yet it really is an opportunity for people to start putting their lives together in yet a different way. What is the new normal that you want?
Yes, so that's beautiful. The tarot card, the Tower, comes right before the star. And the star is the tapestry that I've got right behind me here. And it represents this. I brought up the Tower of Babel before, this wanting to or believing that you have all the information in the world and creating a tower to reach the heavens and to connect to the gods. And once you get almost to the top, the tower crumbles and falls, and there's this devastation and this loss of everything that you've built up over time. And the immediate feeling is often grief. But when you can take a step back from the grief, there's an opportunity to start fresh. And that was really like what I attributed to the Saturn Pluto conjunction at the beginning of the year, because Pluto has this transformative energy of, yes, the destruction and the unearthing of all these like chaotic forces, but also the opportunity to start
Oops, you just lost your sound, honey. There we
Can,
go.
oh, I was getting a phone call. I apologize. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Um, it's okay.
I just wanted you to finish that thought about Pluto.
Yes. So then after the devastation and after the Pluto kind of comes in and transforms everything, you get what is the star in the tarot deck. And that star is associated with Aquarius. So Aquarius is coming and bringing this like rebirth, renewal, this freshness to what was a tragic loss. And that's really what I believe this Saturn Jupiter conjunction to be. It's the opportunity for a new world order. And it's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's not like, oh, today is the conjunction and magically everything is going to be better. But in the same way that the Pluto Saturn conjunction in January had ramifications that lasted for the entire year and were felt, even still kind of felt, the Saturn Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius is the first time in 200 years that these planets are meeting in an air sign. And so we're leaving behind this. They were meeting in earth signs before this. So we're leaving behind the like consumerism, materialism, earthly realm, and we're shifting into this like idea of thought and connection and community and technology. I think of social media really when I think of Aquarius because it's this community of people, but it's also like a technological advancement. And so anything that brings that connection and also has that like the the newness or the innovation, the technological shift, that's a really Aquarian theme. And I think we're going to keep seeing those for the next 200 years. So,
You know, I just went a little bit into this mind space. I pretty much divide an astrology chart into quarters and then, three houses in each quarter and one house of each of the elements, like it's all, to me, astrology charts are all a dance in 3/4 timing.
yes,
um,
that's so
you
true.
know, three houses in each of four quarters. And when you were just talking about these planets having a relationship for a period of time, and then 200 years of an age, like the age of Pluto, the age of Aquarius, that I thought of it as being divided into the four elements. And for the last 200 years or so, they've been in the element of earth, and the next 200 years, they're in the element of air.
Yes.
Am I getting that right? So that these
Yes.
planets that are conjunct now, today, are planets that rotate in around the sun in 200-year cycles.
So they meet. Well, it's actually 20-year cycles. So the
20
Jupiter,
years.
yeah, Jupiter and Saturn meet every 20 years. And for the last 200 years, they've been meeting in earth signs. And for the next
Uh-huh.
200 years, they'll be meeting in air signs. And so the like Saturn will go through all the different elements on its own, but when it meets up with Jupiter again, it'll always be in an air sign. It won't always be Aquarius. It might be Gemini. It might be Libra. But for the next 200 years, it will be in
Yeah.
the light and beautiful air signs. I'm an air sign. I'm a Gemini, so I really resonate with that.
Well, my son is also a Gemini, so I have a
Nice.
special penchant for that. So and and there's so much that's said about Gemini that can be both negative and positive, and that makes me think about the what I call the enlightened side and the shadow principle of each and every one of the archetypes. And we were
Yes.
talking before about the archetype of Jupiter and of Saturn, and I think one of the archetypal images I have of Saturn is the judge,
Oh,
which can be pretty harsh. I also was introduced to the archetype of Saturn as the timekeeper, which is a much nicer kind of discernment, through thoughtful decision making. And
Yes. Well, I have a very complex relationship with Saturn. And I think any astrologer who starts getting deep into the archetype can feel the same energies. But Saturn to me is the tough love of the zodiac. Saturn gives you the consequences of your actions. So if you're putting out good energy, good vibes, working hard, you'll be rewarded. If you're putting out negativity and like just not following your intended path or taking a bunch of detours, you're going to be punished for that. And it's not really like punished, but it's redirected. And sometimes the
it's like
redirection can
coal
feel
in
like
your
punishment.
stocking.
Yes. So, and it's interesting because with the conjunction, it's this, like I said before, this restrictive and like sh- contracting energy versus this expanding energy. And so with the Saturn Jupiter conjunction, it's really this opportunity to think about the expansion of the world as we know it. Saturn rules the time and time and space creates our reality. And so when you're thinking about the world as we know it, everything you see, everything you touch and feel, all of the laws like gravity, if you throw something, it's coming down, those are all Saturn archetypes. And when you think about Jupiter, it's this opportunity to shift your mindset or to like change your beliefs. And changing your beliefs often changes your reality. And that's the opportunity we have with this conjunction because when we're putting out good energy and we're aligned with our truth in the same way that these planets are making an alignment, then the energy and anytime planets make an alignment like this, it's a good time for manifestation. And anybody who practices manifestation or law of attraction knows that the energy that you're putting out is the energy that comes back. And so Jupiter gives us this abundance. And I just like to make a special note that, like, if you're abundance and optimism and positivity are Jupiter keywords, but it's more truthfully a magnifier. So if you're thinking negative thoughts, it's going to magnify those negative thoughts. But if you're thinking optimistic thoughts, it's going to magnify those. And so meeting up with Saturn gives us the opportunity to really create the world from our belief system. What do you want to see the world be? What do you want to have happen in 2021? If you can believe it and put that energy out there, that's what's going to be magnified and come back into your physical reality, which is like a Saturn concept. So,
Very good. Anything specific about who's going to be most impacted by this before we um, let our viewers go for the evening? And also, Kayla, I really want to know how they get in touch with you directly. Um, we'll put
okay.
some notes around the Facebook Live so people can, if you want a reading, or if are you doing special readings for this conjunction?
So I offer birth chart analysis and transit readings. So if you're like, I don't think I've ever had my birth chart read, and I would just like to kind of get a cursory understanding of astrology and all my placements, I can do that. And then also if you're more familiar with your birth chart and you want to know how specific transits like this conjunction affect you personally, I can read the transit chart as well. But sometimes it helps to have the foundation of the birth chart analysis to be able to fully understand how the transits affect you. So, yeah, and to get in touch with me, you can message me here on Facebook. I'm almost always available and I'm happy to go into that world, have a conversation, and really figure out what it is a person is looking for because there's so many layers in the birth chart, and the transits are just one part of those layers. So, yeah.
Great. All right. So, Mohammed just put up your Facebook contact. Isn't that
Yay.
great? He's
Yeah.
my
Add me
social
as a
media
friend
manager.
and
Yeah.
message me. Yeah.
Great. Um,
Thanks, Mohammed.
all right. Any final words? Anyone that should be contacting you above somebody else? I know my sister was the one that brought this topic up to me, and she's a Scorpio. So,
Yes, and I mentioned when we talked before that fixed signs will feel this conjunction more acutely. So that's Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius. So if you have any of those placements in your chart and you're thinking you would like to have a reading to see how this conjunction affects you, definitely get in touch with me, and my link is in the comments.
Great. Yay. Thank
Yay!
you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Kama. It's delightful to talk to you. All right.
All right,
And
I'll talk with you
Mohammed's saying he's
soon.
also a Scorpio. So thanks. Good
Ooh,
night.
interesting. Good night.